7 rolling?
Well, really appreciate you all being here. This is, it's been a very hard 48 hours. The toughest decision that I've had to make, maybe ever. And that's because of how much I love this place, UNM, Albuquerque, New Mexico. The fans, our entire setup here has been amazing. It really came down to making the decision to have an opportunity to go to UCLA. It's the pinnacle of college basketball. It's one of those lifetime opportunities that is really, really difficult to pass up. And it wasn't something that I went looking for. UCLA sought me out. I think it's a great compliment to New Mexico, to UNM, that UCLA, and when you talk about UCLA, you are talking about the pinnacle of college basketball, an incredible university that wants something from New Mexico. And it's about as good a compliment as I can give UNM and New Mexico. Is that I thought I was going to be here a long time. I just signed a 10-year deal. That was the plan. Sometimes plans get messed up and the timing, you never know what it is. But I had no idea that this opportunity would present itself. I'm humbled, I'm honored. I'm very excited about it. I'm excited about the challenges of leading a program and being at an institution that my childhood, one of my childhood heroes in John Wooden, who's from Indiana, obviously walked that sideline at Pauley. That is it's kind of still eerie and probably hasn't sunk in yet to the meaning of all of that. But I just can't thank, I can't thank UNM and I can't thank the people of New Mexico and the Albuquerque community enough. Our family has had nothing but good times here. The people have treated us unbelievable. As a media group, you have been tremendous. It's just been a great relationship over and through everything, and I can't say thank you enough. This was something that just came out of left field. That was an opportunity that I just felt from our family and from my career. I couldn't pass that up, and I'm excited about it. But again, it had nothing to do with UNM. It had nothing to do with. I'm very, very proud of what our program has been able to do through 6 years. We've built something very special. Winning 6 championships in 6 years and winning back-to-back championships for 2 straight years is one thing, and those titles will always mean something to me. But I think the biggest thing that I'll take with me and the lifelong friends that I've developed here in the area is one. Secondly, will be what I've seen our young men grow into. And that's always been a big push of mine, that it's, yeah, we're about excellence, we're about championships, we're about winning. That's the business we're in. But having our young men grow, develop, graduate, and now go into other communities and be positive citizens and make a difference, that's what this is all about. And I've been very fortunate of the players that I've been able to coach here, and really appreciate the efforts that they've done. Very much appreciate the efforts of Paul and his staff and administration, of everybody that has helped the success that we've had. They've bought in and believed in our 6 years here, and I really appreciate that.
Steve, on Wednesday you were really emphatic about committing to New Mexico, and you really made that a point of emphasis. And when you were saying those things, did you consider this maybe a possibility?
No idea. And the press conference Wednesday was, I think, not so much commitment of New Mexico, as I've always had a commitment to New Mexico. It was a commitment that we had a very good season. Wednesday's press conference was just about how are we talking about a season that wasn't very good. That's what that press conference ended up being about. It wasn't so much about the next 10 years or anything else. It wasn't hardly any contract talk, if I remember it at all, that Wednesday. That press conference was all about Jim Rome and the Wall Street Journal and why I think we had a good year. That's what I remember in that press conference.
Coach, you going to take Corey and Bryce with you?
Well, yeah, they're family. So the family's excited about it. But, there's sadness too, because we've loved it here. Every family member here has loved it. We've had great times, and we've got incredible friends that hopefully now will follow us in what we're doing in LA, and we'll continue to have one eye on what's going on here at UNM and what the Lobos are doing. It's just a career path, but we're excited as a family. We moved here from Iowa City not knowing a whole lot about what was going to happen or take place, and we couldn't have been more thrilled about what took place in those 6 years. And we hope that those are the same feelings we're going to have 6 years from now in Los Angeles.
Coach, should Craig Neal be the next head coach here?
Well, that's Paul. Paul's the boss. Obviously, if you're asking me for my endorsement, Coach Neal's ready. Coach Neal's been my associate head coach now for 9 years, 3 years at Iowa, 6 years here. And if you look at our track record over those 9 years, we've averaged 26 wins a year. We've been to postseason every year except our last year at Iowa. And Rudy Davalos would tell you they made a mistake on the NIT. We finished 4th in the Big Ten, and we should have been in the NIT that year. So 8 of the 9 years have produced postseason play. We have won 7 championships in those 9 years, league championships of some sort. He's got an incredible basketball mind. Of all the people I've ever worked with or been around, nobody knows the game of basketball more than he does. And he knows our team. He knows the climate. He knows the culture of UNM. He knows what it's like to walk down the ramp, and he knows what it's like to organize a basketball team in a lot of different ways. And I would highly endorse him because I think he's ready. I think the players will respond to him. I think the fans and boosters would respond very positively to him. But ultimately, that's an administration decision. But I 100% believe in what Coach Neal can do.
Aside from that next decision then here at UNM, what coaches, have you talked at all with anybody about coaching staff at UCLA?
Well, I've obviously talked to my staff this morning, and difficult meeting because it probably shocks them, and difficult players meeting because that's not easy. They're all part of our family, not just them, but our coaches' families, and then the players are a big part. They become like your kids. So those are 2 difficult meetings. So it's kind of getting through today with these meetings, and then we'll sit back and look about what my staff is going to look like and moving forward. But hopefully Coach Neal can get this opportunity. If not, obviously he's the top candidate for me.
Coach, when other coaches have left here at UNM, they've talked about the fishbowl and the pressure and it's too much and the high expectations, that sort of stuff. Did any of that and the press conference on Wednesday alluding to some fans who didn't have a grip on reality, did any of that have to do with the reason you're leaving?
I'm going to UCLA. If I was going somewhere else, you might be able to come up with that, rationale. But I'm going to UCLA. It's 11 national championships. The expectations there, the pressure there on a national stage is maybe as great anywhere. It's a university of excellence. There's a lot. I think in my business, JP, there's pressures at every turn. You look at what we've done in 6 years. To have a press conference like we had on Wednesday, that's odd. It's odd to me because of what we've done in 6 years. But it is. It's what have you done lately? Well, what have you done lately? You lost to Harvard. You forget that we cut down nets at UNLV, and that was fun. I want our fans to remember that they can change the floor at UNLV, they can change the signage at UNLV, but I guarantee those are the nets they shot on. And to cut those nets down 2 years in a row, that's a lot of fun. So no, that had nothing to do with it. In fact, Wednesday I had no knowledge of anything. This really has been a quick 48-hour period. A lot of stress, a lot of talks with the family, but it just felt right. It feels awful to leave here because you're so happy, and I know I could have been happy here for a long, long time, and we would have continued to win, and we continue to win championships. But when an opportunity presents itself like UCLA, it was just really difficult in the end to say no to that.
Coach, you talked about it being a hard decision. Was being happy, like you just said, part of it? Then were you thinking about loyalty and all that stuff and what you built here?
Yeah, you think about all those things, and I hope I know there's going to be, people are be upset, be frustrated. That's all part of the emotion. I feel those same things. Trust me, there's a lot of sadness that comes into this because we put our stamp on a lot of things. The pit was renovated during our tenure here. This wing of the pit. I helped. Paul did a great job in allowing Coach Neal and I to be a part of those drawings and actually being the architect of this wing. We got to see the flow of our strength room, our training room, our locker rooms. We got the planning of all that. And then you look at the pictures in our offices, that's our fingerprint. So it's hard, but it's the 4 rings that we won here will go with me. It's not like I put them in a safety deposit box. Those things will be out, and I'll look at them often. I've got fond memories from here, and nothing but great things and experiences about UNM. And 6 years ago, I didn't know if that'd be the case. But what Paul told me in the interview 6 years ago, that those things happen, and that you don't always get a chance to work for bosses like that and a university like that tells you something and then follows through with it. And nobody's more appreciative of the time that they've had coaching here than I have, and I hope fans have appreciated it, and I hope the fans will continue to be who they are. Lobo fans that support the student athletes that are going to run down that tunnel, run down that ramp, and do the things that they do on the court.
When did you find out? When did you find out? When did you find out?
When did I find out?
When did you make the decision?
Last night.
And was it to Dan? Was there a phone call? I'm just
To
trying
the athletic director, last night.
You said you just signed the new deal. It kicks in April 1st, so as far as the buyout goes, your new buyout was $1 million. Is that still the situation?
I have no idea. That's for legal people. I don't know anything about that.
Oh,
I would know, I'm
in
sorry.
that 48-hour period, when were you informed? Was it presented to you by Steve as a done deal, or did you know that talks were ongoing?
Talks ongoing.
No, to Paul, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I, basically talking to, UCLA and their administration. And then, I texted Paul last night and we got on the phone early this morning.
Okay. But Paul, was it presented to you as a done deal the first time you?
I got a call from Dan Guerrero late last night. I'd already retired for the evening, so I didn't get the call, but Dan left me a message. And then Coach Alford and I talked this morning, and Steve's done a great job here, and as sad and disappointing as I am, Steve was very direct in our conversations and very honest and very appreciative of the time here, and it was clear that he had made up his mind, and that's what he thought was in the best interest of he and his family, and I respect that.
Coach, what was your reaction when you heard that UCLA wanted you?
It's hard. I think it just grew on me. The initial reaction, you're comparing it to what we have here, and I think what we have here is a top 20 program, not just team, top 20 program, and we've proven that. So I think as I started thinking about it, it was a humbling experience because of my roots. I grew up in Indiana from 1st grade through 4th grade. I lived in Martinsville, Indiana, home of John Wooden. I was going into the gym that he went to a lot, and so I've grown up knowing that the breakfast of legends to honor John Wooden is something I've been to every year at the Final Four on a Saturday morning, and they honor John Wooden in that breakfast. And now you start thinking about, I'm going to be there on Saturday. I'm walking into that breakfast as a head coach at UCLA. It's a very humbling experience, but it does prove that what we've done here, people have noticed at the highest level, and I think that's what I'm going to be most proud of as I start my new era of coaching at UCLA. Is how proud of I can look back and say, these doors were opened and this opportunity presented itself because of what took place at UNM.
Coach, there's already players on the current UNM team talking about what their future is. I'm curious what your message would be to them. Would you accept transfers from UNM?
Well, it's hard. I don't want anything but success for this program. I want them to continue to be successful. So there's going to be a lot of emotions today, Jeff. Players, they should be upset. They should be frustrated. I'm upset. I'm frustrated, even though I'm very excited and it's a happy day for me and my family. There's some sadness to it too, and part of that is the players because you grow very attached to them. You're with them every day. You're developing them in every way, shape, and form, socially, academically, athletically. There's a lot that goes into it, and I think sometimes you don't know how attached coaches get to their players, and so those emotions you got to let some time go by, and those emotions I will always have contact with our players, continue to help them as much as possible. We missed a lot of schooling with all of our travel. With our last 2 games were on the road. Vegas was all week. We were gone again for the national tournament. Their concentration right now is academically, and there will be time to see how all those things of how players react to it. There'll be time for that.
Coach, what are some of the things that strengthens you as a coach here at UNM? They're going to aid you in the future that made you attractive.
Well, I'm 6 years older. So I've had 8 years at the University of Iowa at a BCS school, and then I got 6 years here. Previous stops at Missouri State and Manchester College. So, now I'm getting into my mid-20s as far as experience goes. Be my 23rd, 24th year next year. So this place helped equip me for trying to keep and take UCLA to higher levels of excellence. The excellence that we had here for 6 years, it's been consistent. From day one, we've consistently strived for excellence. Our record shows that. Our academic record shows that. Graduation rate from placing our student athletes in jobs, all those things point to excellence. And I think UCLA is about excellence. So hopefully I can continue the things that we were able to do here at UNM at that same kind of level there.
Coach, that being said, are you able to admit that the lack of NCAA tournament success here doesn't show excellence?
Yeah.
How about future logos, guys that have signed to want to play under you here as logos? Are they going to try and follow you now, or what's that stuff?
Well, I think the emotion will die down, in 48 hours or so, and, the school obviously will be in contact with those individuals and just try to work through it the best possibly way. And, hopefully that means they're going to stay at UNM and be logos.
Paul, what are your thoughts on Coach Neal and him being the possible lead candidate for this job?
Coach Alford's made it clear to me and to Tim Cass that he has the highest respect for Craig. You have, if you've been around the program for the last 6 years, it's not hard to understand that Coach Neal has had a strong impact on the program. Coach Alford's given him a lot of freedom within the program, and Craig's a critical part of the success. So I think Craig's an outstanding coach. We have named him interim head coach. He's in charge of the program. Craig is a candidate for the head coaching job, the permanent job. But beyond acknowledging that, I'm not going to really talk about any candidates regarding the search itself. But I think Craig right now adds stability to the program. I think, as Steve has alluded to it, this is a very emotional time, and there's no good way to break the news to the young men in the program. Those are the guys that I feel sorry for, feel for right now, because it's such an emotional time. Coach Alford's been such a huge part of their life and their development as people as well as basketball players, and they're all losing a father figure, and so it's hard, and there's a lot of raw emotion right now. I think my expectation is that Craig creates some immediate stability and continuity in the program, that he'll reach out, if he hasn't already, to the recruits. And our challenge is to find a permanent replacement, be that Craig or somebody else, as quickly and as thoroughly and as judiciously as we can.
Paul, you talked about the $1 million buyout and the new 10-year contract being a little bit of a protection for the program. That contract, correct me if I'm wrong, does not take effect until April 1st, so there is no $1 million buyout. Is that correct?
I'm not a lawyer. You heard Steve. Coach Alford and I haven't talked about that. There was a letter of agreement signed. Is that a contract? Is where, our lawyers. Here's what I know, Jeff. Coach's old contract had a buyout in it, and the new contract that was being written based off a letter of agreement had a buyout in it. One way or the other, there's a buyout. How much that is, Steve and I haven't talked about it. Our respective lawyers haven't talked about it, so I can't tell you what that number is. I do know there is a buyout.
Steve, did you talk